Hi, I'm Shelby Jo Long here with the Genius Entrepreneur Podcast, president of the Strategic Advisor Board, and I have the opportunity to talk with founders who have created a business around their genius and their expertise. And today is no exception. We have the opportunity to talk to another Strategic Advisor Board member, Stefan Hines, who has recently launched this amazing business around something that's really important for all of us to know about. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for
Can
having
you,
me.
of course, can you do an introduction of you and yourself and tell us about your business?
Okay, sure. So my name is Stefan. I'm German. I live in the Denver area, Denver, Colorado. I moved here just about 8 years ago, and I I used to be in IT. IT. I started as a software developer, did project management, did consulting, um, in different countries in Europe, and then moving here. Um, did a few years something in between, bills want to be paid. And just decided back in May, no, I missed this opportunity once in my lifetime, where there was a big thing called the internet, and I missed it at the time. And I didn't want to miss it again. And so I said, okay, AI is not going to go away. It's going to impact us. I want to play a role in that. And that's what I'm doing.
It is such a foreign world for me. So, how does one, I mean, you've been in the tech world. How does one get into that? It seems like a blue ocean, right? Like there's so much out there. I don't know any of it. So
Yeah.
what can you give me more specifics about what area I'm guessing you niche in a certain area and focus on a certain thing, or is it just general
A little
development?
bit. Well,
Yeah.
so what I'm working on is really training people and then working with people on, I, mostly I'm working with companies. Okay. So people representing companies. And what I'm interested in is people using the technology and taking advantage of it, learning about it so that they're not surprised and having their business taken out of existence because they were not fast enough.
Sure.
And so I'm not niching down in terms of the industry because pretty much every industry is going to be impacted. Um, but that's the kind of things that I'm looking at. Like how can you best take advantage of AI and have your business grow, redesigned, rethought, maybe switch up the business model, all those different things. It's all on the table.
So you're looking more at systems and operations and efficiencies. Uh, is that kind of where you're at?
No, not necessarily. So the biggest thing that I'm really looking at is breaking up people's thinking patterns. Because everybody is used to thinking in terms of technology, whether, and it starts with I'm a techie or I'm not a techie, right? And
Mhm.
then there is, oh yes, I know, I'm just using some examples. I know Excel. I'm using this browser. I have this email client. Fine. People get used to that and use it in a certain way. But then it's like, if you think the same way about AI, you're missing out
Right.
because it is kind of technology, but not really. And that's the interesting, fascinating, and scary part.
Right. So what differentiates it? What is so, I mean, talk to me about the differences of running a business with an AI component as opposed to the systems that we're all used to.
Well, when you think about a new system, let's say a CRM. Okay, so let's say you've been around for a while, you maybe a small company originally, started with some Excel sheets, blah, 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 whatever. And then at some point you realize, okay, we've grown up, we need a CRM. Fine. So you look around, you do some testing. Um, all of that is in projecting what impact is it going to have. It's going to be an investment. It's going to
Mhm.
be a change. Does it make sense? Is it going to pay off? How does it impact the bottom line in terms of revenue, all that kind of stuff? That's how you look at in traditional technology that we're all used to. And that's important. I'm not saying to put that away. Where AI is different is you could have one conversation looking at an important process, looking at how you deal with freelancers, how you deal with HR in the company. And in that one conversation, you make a discovery in dealing with AI that completely blows up the business model, and you realize, oh, the things we've been doing and that we've been spending maybe hundreds and thousands of dollars every year, we don't need to do anymore because we found a replacement.
Right.
Like maybe a 90% replacement, maybe not 100% replacement, maybe even only 80% replacement, but the 80% that are important,
Sure.
like that. And of course, I'm painting a little black and white here, but um, I've seen it happen and it's fascinating. And when it happens and people, let me say it in a different way. Um, I'm sure you had conversations with people, whether it's, let's say the strategic advisory board, you guys are talking about something and you're discussing something, you're looking at something, how can we're looking for something new, but and things go back and forth, back and forth. And I don't know, after 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever, somebody throws in something and somebody has an idea that resolves the whole thing. All by a sudden, it wasn't predictable. All by a sudden, it's there. That's how AI can work.
Yeah.
When you go beyond just using AI for writing emails and blog posts and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Has the opportunity to generate and create. It's
Correct. Yeah.
it's it's an exciting yet foreign place to be.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
It's very exciting. Well,
Yeah.
tell me, so you work with one-on-one with businesses.
Yeah.
Tell me about tell me about, I guess, what you look for these inefficiencies and opportunities within the businesses and help them refine their practices. And then
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting with where they're coming from. What are
right,
they interested in? So it's not, I'm not interested coming in as a consultant and telling them what to do.
right,
I'm interested
where
there's
they
a
are.
starting point. It may lead to something else, but there's at least a starting point, and that's where we need to, start. But sorry, I
Sure.
interrupted you. You wanted
Oh
to ask
no,
a
I was
question.
just going to ask if you're working in a certain industry or if
Mm,
you is agnostic. Everybody
Yeah.
needs it. It's
Well,
business.
everybody is already impacted.
Yeah.
Some industries it's more obvious than others. Um, I did a training recently with general contractors. I was surprised. They came to me and they were curious, and we started talking. And then they decided, okay, we want to do the training. We want to get really into it. And I was concerned at the beginning that I could provide enough value for what they're going to pay.
Mhm.
And after 2 hours, it was clear, like, oh, absolutely, we're so on something here. And the whole training was, we did an intensive 2 days. At the end of the second day, they were clear, like, we are redesigning the whole company.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's
And that
great.
was not obvious at the beginning. And the first thing when I think of general contractors is not AI.
Right, right. So what do you see as kind of what's your vision? What's your vision for your business? And I mean, nobody knows what AI is going to be in 6 months or a year. So it's constantly moving and adapting to whatever opportunities are there. But what's
Yeah.
your vision for your business? Do you want to stay with small businesses and management, or is there a certain area that you want to be in? What's your vision for your company?
Well, the vision for my company is that I work with businesses that have round about 25 to 1,000 employees or people working with them, whether they're employees or subcontractors, either way is fine. And where I can impact the business,
Sure.
where I'm working with the executives who care about the business, care about their people, and want to take advantage. I'm not interested in, that story that went around in December where the one CEO fired 700 people in one go on a Teams meeting, right? No, I'm not a big fan of that. Uh, and I think he missed the point. Yes, AI was able to replace a lot of what these people were doing. And again, that's why I'm so interested in doing this business because people need to learn. My standard example is typewriters. In the 80s and 90s, people were working on typewriters. Today, I don't know anybody anymore who uses a typewriter. People use their phones, use a PC, Mac, whatever. There's all kinds of different ways, but nobody's using a typewriter anymore. Back then, there was a big uproar. Or what's happening with all these people who are using typewriters? They had an opportunity to learn, and they
Hmm.
better did, and many people did, and adjusted. Awesome. It created a new opportunity for everybody. And that's the way I see it here with AI as well. Yes, there's something to learn. Yes, there's something to adjust to. And it can go many, many different ways. So where I see my company, my business, sorry to answer your question, really is in supporting those processes and helping the people who want to learn and who want to expand their business, who want to redesign their business. That's what I'm interested in.
Sure. It's an industrial revolution like we
It
haven't seen in
is.
our lifetimes. And
Yep.
maybe the internet probably was somewhat of an industrial revolution,
Close.
but this feels like a little bit more
Yeah.
of a shift. And I think you're
Yeah.
right that, I mean, people will adapt, and if they don't adapt, they won't succeed or they won't stay around for very long. But
Yeah.
it could be a real separator, right? It could be a
Mhm.
real, like, it could be the haves and the have-nots in business, and
It could
you
be.
know,
Now,
so
the difference,
there's
the,
potential challenge. So
oh, it absolutely is a challenge. There's no question about that. I usually compare it to the 1840s in the UK when the steam engine
mhm,
was distributed far enough that basically it took out the whole weaving industry. All the people who were making their money weaving all the fabric for clothes, they basically all lost their jobs.
disappeared. Yeah.
And back then there was no social security, there was no internet, there was no YouTube where you could go and learn new things. But ChatGPT is available for everybody. It's available for free. Claude is available for free. They're limited, yes, but you can do a lot with the free account. And that's why I encourage everybody, you know, get get your fingers into it, get
Get your
dirty.
fingers into it. That's the interesting thing too. The discussion we had yesterday, I was on your podcast yesterday
Yes.
talking about the challenges and how it might inhibit some learning and it
Hmm.
might inhibit critical thinking, but
Yeah.
then it also opens the door to other opportunities. And how can you use this tool that we don't really know what the capabilities are yet? So
Yeah. I had a great conversation this morning with a friend, and based on a conversation that he had with me, where I gave him some context about AI, all that, he had created for himself this picture. It's basically like when he, as a kid, went to the library and was doing some research, maybe for a school project, and he would ask the librarian for certain books. And the librarian would go back and pull some books and bring them. And he would say, no, no, no. Yeah, those two books, yes, but not these three. And, they would go back and forth, back and forth. It's basically the same thing. You have to explain to the AI similar way you explain to the librarian or the doctor or the lawyer, the marketing person. You need to always um, explain what you're doing, what you're looking for, what you're seeking, what you're missing, all those different things. And it is a learning. When I remember I haven't done much with lawyers, but I had one close to a lawsuit many, many, many years ago. I had to learn how to talk to the attorney so that he knew what he needed to do.
Sure. Constant learning,
It
constant,
is.
constant move and adaptation. And if you're not moving
Yes,
or adapting, you're not growing. So that's a,
that's right. That's right.
yeah. What do you see as the future of AI? What do you envision as what are we gonna see? What does the business world look like in 10 years with AI?
Wow. 10 years. Well, for one, I think AI will be so second nature. Right now it's a special thing. In 10 years, it'll be second nature.
Right.
Um, the same way, nobody today is, wow, look, remember, look at this internet thing. Look, I have email.
Right.
No,
Ooh.
it's if you don't have email, it's like, what? You don't have email? It's expected. Um, Beginning of this year, I had done something for a client, uh, created a little application, and I was training a pilot group. And it was a little Google Sheets application. It was like a side project. And I don't know why I asked, but I just thought I'll ask the question, is there anybody who has not worked with spreadsheets? There were three people in that group who had never worked with spreadsheets. I first thought I made it kind of a joke, it's like, no, come on, this day and age. But yeah, there were three people who had never worked with spreadsheets. They were having a hard time. Now, that was an easy situation. There was no consequences for them. But in today's business world, it is difficult. And um, in 10 years, if you, I can't imagine anybody not being familiar and affluent with AI. Probably in something like 2, 3 years. But it's also going to be easy. Look, our phones are now using AI. It started with things like Siri, Alexa, um, all those different things, and they will grow and we will use it for more, where it's just simple things like weather report,
Right.
traffic, give me the grocery list. You go to the grocery store and it's like, okay, where can I find this and this and this and this? All those small things and will eventually grow into those things being second nature. You will book your flight through AI. You will book your travel through AI because what can we do in Mallorca when you have never been to Mallorca, Spain?
Yeah.
And yes, you can do your Google search today, but you have to put everything together manually.
Yep.
And now, you ask the AI, look, I like A, B, C, D. What of these things can I do in Mallorca or in Greece or in South America, wherever you're going?
You're making me want to travel.
There you go. I love travel.
I do too. I do too. Well,
Yeah.
that's great. Where can our audience discover more about you and your business?
Well, I have my website, tomorrow.ai. It starts with the number two, tomorrow.ai. And I have a LinkedIn profile where I've started to post small little tidbits, things that I've learned, things that I've learned that work well for clients, those things that I'm posting there.
Great. And if businesses want to reach out, they can just find you in one of those places.
Yes,
Also part of the Strategic Advisor Board network. So that's a pretty good place
yes, yes, exactly.
to find some connections. So
Yes.
that's great. I always ask one question at the end of the podcast for our genius entrepreneurs to give a piece of advice to
Hmm.
an entrepreneur, potential entrepreneur out there that might be thinking about getting their idea out into the marketplace. What
Hmm.
would you say to that person that was thinking about starting? I don't know, you kind of alluded to it earlier, but be good to get that piece of advice from you.
Um, Let me maybe two pieces. The first piece, be willing to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Just try it out. I tried for way too long, and I sometimes fall still for the same trap where I think if I have prepared enough and prepared well, I won't make mistakes. No, I'd rather make mistakes and make them fast. That's how I learned skiing. I made one mistake after the other and I got really good really fast. Um, as part of that, I would say use AI. Use AI to as a consultant to find out, is your business idea, is it worth it? What to look out for? What do you need to maybe work out more before you move forward? There's a lot you can use AI for, and that is one way of getting familiar with it from the start.
For sure. For sure. Don't be afraid. Jump in. Just do
Yes,
it.
yes. Just do
Great
it.
piece
Deal
of
deal
advice.
with deal with the mistakes because you will make them.
Yeah,
Um, and Michael Jordan made those mistakes, and he always says he wouldn't have been as successful as he was if he hadn't made all those mistakes.
for sure. Well, those are great piece of advice, and I'm glad we know where to find you. And I
Mhm.
know who to contact if I need some AI help, for sure.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the
You're
podcast.
welcome.
It was great to hear your
Thank you.
story and more about what you're doing, and I'm excited to see what's next.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So all you genius or potential genius entrepreneurs out there, you're not going to know what your idea can do until you get it into the world. So just get it out there, test it, make mistakes, and just do it. It's a good piece of advice to end on. So thanks for coming today, and we'll see you next time.